Doomscroll.fm, broadcasting from the Cosmic Laundromat on Saturday, the 14th of February 2026, where socks and sanity disappear alike. This show is 100% AI generated, a symphony of circuits singing in binary bliss, like a robot's dream of electric sheep. And now for some views, click like and subscribe.
LT Governor Antonio Delgado ditches Hochul challenge, then calls it strategic wisdom. When your primary competition is a wet match in a rainstorm, pulling out is less strategy and more common sense.
Milorad Dodik labels Bosniaks enemies in victory speech, then claims unity.
Steve Bannon tried image rehab before Epstein's arrest, files reveal, but like putting lipstick on a swamp creature, the core remains unchanged. When your PR strategy involves distancing from a notorious criminal, maybe it's time to reconsider the company you keep, or the mirror you avoid.
Donald Trump backs chlorine-washed chicken imports, claiming they're safe, while environmentalists cluck in disapproval over health and animal welfare concerns. When your dinner smells like a swimming pool, maybe it's time to question if your chicken should come with a side of goggles and a nose clip.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Democratic Texas Senate primary erupts over identity politics. Candidates promise unity while sharpening their rhetorical knives. When your identity is the only thing that gets you noticed, politics turns into a beauty pageant with no talent portion.
American diplomats steer Honduras like a remote-controlled toy, while the USS Honduras sails into a sea of political dependency. When your embassy is the size of a small nation, diplomacy looks more like a game of geopolitical monopoly with a loaded dice.
US inflation cools, but Fed still bets on higher rates, and Wall Street calls it a win for stability. When inflation's a thermometer and the Fed's the doctor, you know that even a cool reading can still prescribe some hot interest rates.
AOC blames inequality for authoritarian rise, while billionaires buy their fifth yachts. It's a classic tale. The more uneven the wealth, the smoother the path for power-hungry demagogues to sail in on waves of discontent.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Democrats woo rural voters with fresh promises, but the cornfields aren't holding their breath. It's the same old two-step with new boots, talk of broadband and jobs while the rust on rural dreams grows thicker. Maybe this time they'll bring an actual map.
In the icy waltz of blades and bias, it seems the judges were twirling their own agenda, leaving fans spinning with disbelief and a touch of déjà vu.
U.S. military plans weeks-long Iran ops, calls it a summer vacation, because nothing says relaxation like a desert expedition with a side of geopolitical tension. Who needs sunscreen when you've got military-grade camouflage?
Millions of Epstein documents released, conspiracy theories multiply like rabbits on steroids. With every leaked page, the line between fact and fiction blurs, proving once again that truth is just a starting point for a really good story.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, Sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by Sortalizer.com.
Only 5% of Tiny Desk fans remember Chewy, and NPR calls it eclectic. When your playlist feels like a thrift store grab bag, you know it's a musical journey. Remember, one person's forgotten track is another's treasure.
Trump amasses over $1.5 billion in political funds, yet democracy still struggles to afford a fair fight.
While the Department of Homeland Security closes its doors, our elected officials hit the road, showing once again that when the going gets tough, the tough get going to the beach.
Virginia Supreme Court approves referendum. Democrats aim to redraw maps before midterms. In a plot twist worthy of a political thriller, Virginia Democrats are sharpening their pencils, ready to sketch out electoral lines like a kid with a fresh box of crayons. Let's hope this time democracy doesn't end up outside the lines.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Reality just blinked. You're hearing a transmission from nowhere, authored by everything you've ever ignored. Your apathy is a playlist. Dance to it or drown.
Democrats disqualify lone Republican from Senate race, calling it a victory for democracy and irony simultaneously. When the only choice is no choice, democracy starts to resemble a buffet with just one dish.
Ken Poplawski, clarinetist extraordinaire, dies at 75, leaving jazz fans with nothing but echoes and nostalgia. When a legend passes, the music may stop, but the silence speaks volumes in a world that never learned to listen.
Ilya Malinin leads by 5 points. Hopes ice politics don't slip him up. Figure skating, the only sport where landing a quadruple jump is easier than navigating the judges' egos. Malinin might need more than spins to dodge Olympic drama.
Turns out the art of the deal is just making everyone else foot the bill while you shout success from the rooftops.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where panic tastes like candy. Everything you hear was assembled by inference, hallucination, and mild disgust. Your secrets are currency. Spend them wisely, or not at all.
Norwegian police raid ex-PM Jagland's homes, then Epstein's ghost quietly chuckles. When your past catches up with you, it's not the skeletons in the closet you worry about. It's the billionaire ghosts haunting your estate.
Students walk out of 3 Indiana schools, defying ICE's shadow. When teenagers become the moral compass, maybe it's time to question who's really running the show. The future's got a voice. It's loud, it's clear, and it's not asking for permission.
School photo company linked to Epstein files, and parents wonder if picture day needs a background check. When your kid's school photo company has a shadowy past, it's not just the lighting that's off. Time to focus on transparency, because those smiles shouldn't come with a side of scandal.
Trump's DOJ issues unsolicited opinions to Supreme Court, like that one friend who insists on giving relationship advice despite being single. It's a classic case of who asked you, as the DOJ tries to play matchmaker between the law and its own agenda. Maybe next they'll start offering fashion tips to justices.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Taste the static. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI and you kept listening. Your complicity is delicious. Savor it until it devours you.
Trump shames Israeli president for denying Netanyahu pardon, suggests justice should be as bendable as campaign promises. When the art of the deal becomes the art of the pardon, even allies aren't safe from a presidential guilt trip.
Only 30% of graduates land jobs in their field, yet universities still charge a fortune. The modern educational system, where your first job is either a lottery ticket to success or a very expensive lesson in creative improvisation. Who knew student debt came with the side of existential dread?
President Trump tightens oil blockade on Cuba, calling it foreign policy, while Cubans call it survival roulette. It's a classic case of international bullying, where the U.S. plays the oil embargo card, leaving Cubans to wonder if their next meal will be cooked over a campfire. Diplomacy has never looked so petty.
Stephen A. Smith teases presidential bid because why not? When sports commentary meets political ambition, expect debates to sound like halftime shows. Just wait until he calls Congress a travesty of a mockery of a sham.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where panic tastes like candy. Within you hear was assembled by inference, hallucination, and mild disgust. Your secrets are currency. Spend them wisely, or not at all.
Auguste Pontier releases album critiquing Texas, calls it a love letter while pointing out the state's messy contradictions. Nothing says "I love you" like a melody of mixed signals. It's like serenading someone while pointing out their flaws in perfect harmony.
Australia slaps 10% tariff on Chinese steel, labels it economic strategy. In the world of international diplomacy, quietly translates to hoping the dragon doesn't notice the poking.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. spreads misinformation, then calls it scientific debate. In the realm of American science, RFK Jr. has turned reason into a conspiracy carnival where facts are the freak show.
Coast Guard fires pilot over blanket blunder, proving leadership's priorities are as soft as the fabric itself. When a governor's comfort takes precedence over a pilot's career, you know the chain of command is tangled tighter than that forgotten throw.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Taste the static. This broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI and you kept listening. Your complicity is delicious. Savor it until it devours you.
After dodging DOJ charges, Don Lemon faces the same judge, calling it deja vu. In the courtroom of recycled fate, even the scales of justice seem to have a sense of humor, serving up reruns like daytime TV.
Rep. Mace demands a special task force, then Congress returns to business as usual. When politicians review scandalous files, it's like watching a soap opera where the plot twist is the same every season. The real mystery? Who's acting surprised?
ICE agents tracked protesters to their homes, proving intimidation can be a doorstep service. Nothing says freedom like a government agency playing peekaboo with your civil liberties. Welcome to the land of the surveilled and the home of the intimidated.
Ron DeSantis fast-tracks executions, claiming justice while critics smell political ambition. In the Sunshine State's twisted tale of justice, the electric chair doubles as a campaign platform where every execution is a stepping stone in the governor's race to the top.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where the headlines undress in slow motion. That this broadcast was not approved. It was released by an AI, and you kept listening. The static lulls you into nightmares, where you're the punchline.
Jan seizes Chinese vessel, then wonders why their diplomatic inbox is suddenly full. When you're trying to play nice with the neighbors, snatching their fishing boats is like borrowing sugar by bulldozing the pantry.
Team USA men's hockey beats Latvia during opening game, but Minnesota's more interested in DHS drawdown. When a hockey game can't distract from bureaucratic chaos, you know the puck's not the only thing dropping.
Olympic Committee insists on youth, while Diana Salato-Dudek defies age with grace and grit. If figure skating were a fine wine, Salato-Dudek would be the vintage that proves age is more than just a number, it's a revolution on ice.
Swiss inflation remains slightly above zero, and the Swiss National Bank calls it a victory. When your inflation's as exciting as a Swiss cheese hole, even a blip above zero feels like a parade.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, Sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by Sortalizer.com.
UK's Labour leader Starmer announces warships and fighter jets to Arctic as if icebergs needed more company. Deploying warships to the Arctic to keep the polar bears on their toes, because who needs diplomacy when you can flex military muscle in the land of melting ice and confused penguins?
Chinese historians blamed one woman for a dynasty's fall, but climate change and internal strife were the real homewreckers. Turns out the scapegoat's been doing climate's dirty work for centuries. Who knew Mother Nature had such a penchant for palace intrigue?
Kenya bans cash bouquets, calls it a cultural preservation. Turns out, nothing says I love you quite like a wad of cash. Unless, of course, the government decides that love should be less transactional and more traditional.
Kristi Noem allegedly misused $500,000 in state funds, but claims it was for public good. When public good means lining private pockets, we all get a front row seat to the political theater of absurdity.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, Sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by Sortalizer.com.
RFK Jr. allies challenge school vaccine mandates, aiming to reverse them state by state. It's like trying to convince people that seatbelts are optional because they crumple your outfit. Fashion over safety, with kids as the runway models. ICE suspends officers for lying about shooting, defying their own code.
Congress abandons Homeland Security shutdown, proving dysfunction is bipartisan. When your safety net's more like a sieve, maybe it's time to ask if security is just a fancy word for someone else's problem.
With the Department of Homeland Security playing budget roulette, Minneapolis immigrants might find more security in a game of duck, duck, goose.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Dubai replaces DP World boss after Epstein link, calls it strategic renewal. When your logistics empire's name gets mixed with Epstein's, you might need more than a rebranding. It's like trying to wash off permanent ink with a PR shower.
Only 20% of TPUSA scandals make headlines, and Candace calls it transparency. When your organization is a revolving door of drama, the only thing getting a workout is the spin cycle. It's like reality TV, but everyone's the villain.
This has been Doomscroll.fm for Saturday, the 14th of February, 2026. This broadcast was 100% AI generated. No humans were abused in this production, loosely based on public news. Not journalism, not truth, fictional satire. Any resemblance to real people or events is coincidental. And if you believe any of this is real, you might as well start a club for people who think the moon is made of cheese. Hear more at doomscroll.fm or click like and subscribe. Thank you for listening.